regional population base is not growing. Our the ability for a human to be right 100% of the time is just not feasible, and we all understand that. So we really made a push into more optical inspection, and part of that plan was Koh Young with looking at pre and post oven, making sure that we're comfortable before it actually gets flowed so that we don't waste and scrap boards. And then the solder paste inspection has been a critical part as well, but just allowing for more product, more placement, and less people working on the lines has been critical in simplifying our router steps for all the visuals that we had throughout the process. And really what that's allowed us to do is remain competitive with the rest of the globe.
With Panasonic and Koh Young and everybody in the room, and basically writing out a vision, I'm not saying they didn't think I was crazy right away, because I think they thought I was crazy right away. Because coming into the industry not really knowing everything about the industry, I just wanted to use industrial management techniques and see what we're going to get out of this. And so it's really taken us down a path that I'm really excited about the future, and not just the future for Matric, the future for this industry.
We're using Koh Young equipment on all of our surface mount placement lines in 3 locations: solder paste inspection, pre-reflow and post-reflow, and they are all networked together, and we have actually one person monitoring all the production coming off all the machines at one location. And it's helped us immensely in making sure that the products that we're producing are meeting the specifications and standards. Analytics,
make and break everything, to include your margin control and all of the pricing and everything else that you have to. And then basically understanding what a per square foot you can push through a building and effectively do it. So once we rearranged the building to where I felt we finally have our flows correctly, and we really started doing the pulls, it was pretty apparent that the optics have to keep up. The Panasonics have to keep up. All of our go-no-go checks, all that had to keep up. The testing had to keep up. And so the one thing we knew we couldn't do is take every PCB board and go through a visual inspection to look for exceptions. You cannot do that and think you're going to keep up at the pace that we need to run it. And so that was my number one focus was, at the back of the line, you would take everything off. You just go and no-go everything out of your basically your post inspection, and then visual everything, and then redo it all again. None of that made any sense to me, especially coming out of the Toyota production system background and working there. You just don't touch things twice. Nothing's good come back. And so I put a lot of pressure on Koh Young to say, hey, we're going to make these calls, and I want to call before the post. Oh, by the way, we're also going to go put pre's on everything, because we're doing the whole, the industry standard, you're only going to get 20% productivity in so many parts per hour. I didn't really buy into that. I thought that seemed like a really good way. Everybody says, okay, just go away, Pat. Right? And I didn't believe in that. And so I said, okay, so if we're placing at 8, 12, 14% place time on these machines, how hard is it to really get to 24%? And we're not an OEM, so we're doing 10, 12 changeovers a day. Things are spinning, things are moving. It comes down to rotation checks, all those things that you do, because you can set up a pit crew and go. It's really knowing that if you go, you're not going to have a lot of issues. So basically that's where the pre came from, because we're spinning it at such a pace that inspecting every operator to do everything all the time exactly correctly, I think that's kind of whistling through the graveyard.
That ties right back into our weekly ops meeting and our reports, and then that further ties into our strategic goals when we're looking at CapEx and seeing where we have scrap issues or job issues, and actually allows us to turn around if we're having issues on building a board, having that conversation with the customer to also generate engineering revenue dollars, but also let that customer know that we're trying to build the best product possible. And these call outs that we're getting from the optical equipment really helps us to aid in having that conversation, saying, here's the data, this is what we're seeing let's fix this, or you're going to have an increase in cost that you don't even know about because you might not be aware of that. And that's been extremely helpful, and it's allowed us, and that's part of the reason that we've been rolling it out across all of our lines, because we saw the benefit when we did it the first time, and now it's going to be company-wide. So we're excited about that.
I don't really go into vendor relationships without it being a partnership. I will not do it. I mean, if you're going to have me take machine 1 or 2 and I'm going to go out on a limb for you, you're going to be right there, and we're going to fail together or we're going to succeed together. That's been really nice to see. Koh Young and even Panasonic, right? That partnership that they have, to be able to pull both parties into a room and go, hey, this is our next step. I need you guys on board. And for them to say, yes, they're going to do it. And they don't even like shake their heads anymore and say yes, right? Okay, that's what Pat's going to do. That's the direction we're going to go.
We've had a particularly strong relationship with Koh Young. Just when we were walking around, as I brought up a challenge, knowing that they were here, that they're immediately ready to meet that challenge. And even some of the software, as we were out there, some of the software challenges that we've presented them, they've risen to the occasion. And it's really helpful to have that collaboration, because I understand we're not the biggest contract manufacturer out there. There's much larger, and it's nice to know that even a contract manufacturer of our size, when we want to have that open dialogue of what we're looking to achieve and how we want to get there, Koh Young has always been ready to take that step with us. And sometimes they even have to think a little bit outside of what their normal parameters are. But it's really been nice. Our manufacturing engineers are always pleased with the output. Our vice president of operations, while sometimes he holds their feet to the fire a little bit, it's been that partnership that we're looking for. When we bring on customers, we're looking for a partnership. When we are looking for new equipment, it's not necessarily, oh, just get this because it's fancy and fast. Is this going to work for us for the next 5, 10, 15 years as we continue to expand?
And I said, okay, so we have the pre under control. That means we're not sending anything down the ovens. I can wipe a board, move on. Very cost effective. And then turn around and do something to make sure that we make all our calls before it travels through the final go, no go. And then I can take all of those steps out of there. And after all of that, we're in a position now, we are the first ones in the industry to do this now. We are literally making that call before it goes to the final inspection. And we are really, really excited about this. We're also one of the first ones in the industry to now reduce one person making all the calls across all of our equipment. And so we're basically setting up a war room. There's going to be one person making that, a couple of technicians, highly skilled technicians that are going to have headsets on, and they're just going to go take care of our problems. And we're not going to have people sitting at the AOI. And I think we've joked before, saying they just don't buy chairs. Stop buying chairs. You can't buy chairs and put people at AOIs, because that's not what the machine does. The human eye can't do it anyway. So you might as well get your optics done.